The setting, Aqueduct Racetrack, also known as the Big A. The event, the Jerome Stakes, a Kentucky Derby qualifying race with 10 points going to the winner and 5 points going to second place. Welcome to the morning show. I'm your host, Al. Today, we're going to be taking a closer look at the Jerome Stakes, 5 entrants in this race. I'm going to be breaking down all 5 of them, pros, cons, contender, or pretender. I've looked this race over. I'm going to be taking a deeper look here, analysis, picks, and plays. We'll begin by talking briefly about the history of the Jerome Stakes. Now, when I learned about its history, I was impressed. And I want to share that with you here, and I think you might be impressed with it too, or at least you'll know the significance of this race and how it's taken on more significance in recent years. Now, the Jerome Stakes at Aqueduct is one of the oldest stakes races in North America, but its status as a road to the Kentucky Derby prep race is much more recent development. And I go on. First run in 1866. The Jerome Stakes has been run since 1866. So, geez, that's 158 years ago. The first run in 1866 at long gone Jerome Park. The Jerome, that's where it got its name, Jerome Park. The Jerome was held for many years in mid-September, serving as a prestigious 1-mile prize for talented 3-year-olds. Interesting. From 1940s through the 60s, the roster of Jerome winners read like a who's who of champions and Horse of the Year, including Hall of Fame inductees Coletown, Hill Prince, Tom Fool, Bold Ruler, the Great Kelso, and Carry Back. Even during quieter periods, accomplished horses bolstered the Jerome reputation. Astrides, winner of the inaugural Kentucky Derby, claimed the Jerome in 1875, while Fusaichi Pegasus replicated the Derby Jerome double in 2000. The Jerome held Grade 1 status from 1984 through 1994, but slowly lost its status as richer races crowded the calendar. In 2013, the New York Racing Association, NYRA, shifted the Jerome from Belmont to Aqueduct and changed its date to early January, allowing the historic race to re-envision itself as a road to the Kentucky Derby prep race. Slowly but surely, the Jerome has settled into its new position. Vijay used victory in the Jerome as a springboard to competing in the 2013 Kentucky Derby, as did 2018 Jerome champion Frenzy Fire. By offering Kentucky Derby qualification points to the top 5 finishers on a 10-5-3-2-1 basis, the Jerome has helped fill a winter void on the New York circuit, offering Derby hopefuls a chance to gain a foothold on the qualification leaderboard without shipping out of state. So now the Jerome. There's only been one other Derby prep race this year, and this is the only Derby qualifying race today on this January 6, 2024. The Smarty Jones Stakes was run at Oaklawn. That was won by Brad Cox. And before we slip forward, I want to show you, since this is a Kentucky Derby prep race, to give you an idea of the significance here, getting 10 points early with a bunch of stakes races ahead gives you a nice foot up to qualify for the Kentucky Derby, because there will be other races down the road where some of them where you even finish second when they get to the 100-point qualify races worth 50 points. This is a good springboard to get in. If you get 30 and up, you're usually a good bet to get in now. In some years, just breaking 20 would be enough, but recently it's a few more points. So we're going to take a look currently at the standings for the leaderboard for Kentucky Derby prep races. And now Catching Freedom, number 9 there, is actually tied with a bunch of others with 10 points. Brad Cox won the Kentucky, the Smarty Jones Stakes with Catching Freedom, and he's number 9. So he gained a quick 10 points this year. And so you can see how that the 10 points here gives you a nice leg up, a little bit of a head start. And going back to Brad Cox for a minute, who does have an entry in the Jerome Stakes today in an even money favorite. So Brad Cox is in this race, so he's looking to grab another 10 points. And the leader right now is the Todd Pletcher trained Fierceness Rapoli stable owner Mike Rapoli, the Vitamin Water billionaire, who actually sharpened his teeth with horse racing in the 70s. He was right from the probably about maybe no more than 5-6 miles from Aqueduct Racetrack, shooting over there in the afternoons and handicapping the horses, and becomes a billionaire. And now he has a Belmont Stakes winners to his name. Last year he took Forte on a wild ride, but they're the favorite, not the favorite, but they have the most points at 30, Fierceness, and some others in here with 10. And Todd Pletcher, I notice, has 2 of them out front here in the stakes, and a Brad Cox third. Pletcher with Fierceness locked, and Timberlake, Brad Cox. And Brad Cox has another in there, Catching Freedom, with 10 from the Smarty Jones Stakes, and he's looking to add another one here today. So we're going to take a look now at the actual race itself and go down. I'm going to further analyze this, and I'm going to give you my final consensus, tell you a little bit about all of the 5 entries. So it's a small field here at Aqueduct today. Let me bring this race up so you could see it right along with me as I talk about the horses, and you see what I see as we give you the predictions for the Jerome Stakes. Okay, as you can see, this is a Brisnet. This is the Brisnet Racing PPs. Now, if you need Brisnet PPs for Aqueduct, Gulfstream Park, the track I'll be covering today, I'll also be going to the Jerome Stakes during that live broadcast that begins at 11:45 a.m. Eastern time today. If you need PPs for the races, any of the racetracks in the United States racing circuit, I have a link down below in the description area. So you want to open that up and click on the link for free Brisnet PPs. So we have you covered with that. No matter what track you're playing, you can find free PPs for most of the tracks and a lot of the races. So you can you don't have to pay for it, and you can go from there. I make that available to you here during the live and pre-recorded shows. Now here it is. Now the Jerome Stakes post time for this race is at 1:19 p.m. Eastern time, and the deal, it's a 1 mile 150K race. And it's a non-graded stakes, and of course, it's for 3-year-olds. It's a stepping stone to the Kentucky Derby. You can get 10 points. Everyone in this race is going to get a point. 10, 5, 3, 2, 1. Just by entering, you get a point. How much is that point worth? Maybe if it comes down to a tiebreaker, it might be worth a little something. But the ones that finish at the bottom here, they're the long shots. But the 10 points, significant. 5 points, that's pretty significant too. You catch another one down the road, another couple. Even if you place in some of these races, the 5 points might play a big part in qualifying for the Kentucky Derby. And we'll start with number 1, the favorite. Brad Cox is here. Drum roll, please. Looking to join the fray here. Now, looking at the prime power ranking of this, second prime power, ranked second in prime power here. And Brad Cox, now that's a computer generated number, So it's just an indication of the horse's body of work, not really track specific, surface specific, or distance specific. But it's a fun number to look at, but gives you a slight idea. Now, this one's out of hard spun. Brad Cox comes to town. He's 16% at Aqueduct. We'll start with the trainer. He's 16% at Aqueduct, 4 for 25, 5 seconds and 4 thirds. 16%, that's significantly less than his overall winning percentage from the start of 2023 to the current day here in 2024, where he's 28% at all tracks. And Brad races all over the place. He's been a staple at the Kentucky Derby lately, always a contender. What about the horse? They keep Javier Castellano aboard, has ridden it its last 2 times. Drum roll, please. Last race, they ran in a G2 in the Remsen at 1.125 miles here at Aqueduct in the mud. And they put up a pretty good number, Brisnet number of 93. It showed a big increase in early speed here at that distance. And I'm wondering if that early speed is faster. It had a lot to do with the wet track because it never ran that fast early before by the pace figures. Even the last time it ran in the mud, it didn't run that fast early. So maybe it's on the improve. Maybe it has some early speed here. And we'll have to see. So it ran a 93. And the last time it ran that fast at a mile was at Saratoga, where it finished second in a maiden special weight race, ran a 96 with a tremendous closing kick. That tells me this one can run either very fast early or very fast late. Now, by its running pattern, the way it's been going, it seems to be running a slow race, a fast race, a slow race, a fast race. If you look up the running line from its very first race, it has 4 races, 81, 96. 87 broke its maiden here at Aqueduct with a good closing kick, but only ran an 87, whereas when he ran the 96 and the 93, he didn't win those races. Then he jumped up to the 93 again and in 1.125 miles. And showed good early speed, even though he wasn't in front at the first call. It was a quickly paced race. Did finish third in a G2. And this is a drop in class today for Cox, because the last race was the Remsen, a G2, and he did manage to finish third in that race. Last workout, December 30th, 5 furlongs in 102. Workout before that, December 19th. So he started working out December 19th. He started after the Remsen on the 2nd at Aqueduct. Started working out 17 days later. Came back with a workout of 49 flat for 4 furlongs. And December 30th, 11 days later, 12th of 30, 102 and 2 at 5 furlongs. Now, I'm going back to its previous workouts before the Remsen and see how he was running then. November 25th, 10th of 112, 48 and 3. November 17th, 3rd of 51, 47 and 4. November 11th, 3rd of 126, 47 and 2. And now his workouts are a little on the slower side since the Remsen, and I'm wondering if that took something out of this one. And he might be a bounce candidate. It has run twice at Aqueduct at the distance, and it has a first and a second. Now, the question is, will the good or the not as good, drum roll please, show up today, considering the pattern? Win contender? Absolutely. Has run at a G2 race. Where are we going to place him? Right now, I have him either first or second. And again, the workouts are significantly slower than we've seen in the past. Even going back to, say, November 11th workout before the Remsen. He had one in there of November 11th before the Remsen. Actually, before his Saratoga race, he had a workout once, a bullet, first of 29, 59, and 3. A lot of fast workouts. His workout pattern has not been as good since the Remsen. So that's a bit of a concern. Now we're going to go down to number 2 here, which is a Pletcher entry. Gets Manny Franco up. Canate. He's ranked 3rd in the Brisnet Power Rankings. He has not run at Aqueduct before. Does have a lot of early speed. They flashed it at 1.16 mile, ran an 87 Brisnet at Churchill Downs, but ran fast fractions early before really coming apart in the later stages of the race. Now that's 1.16 mile. Today's a mile. Wound up, he was had the lead at the second call by a head, entered the stretch in 3rd, a half back, faded to 6th, 5 back with Luis Saez up. You got the Pletcher factor. Pletcher from start of 2023 to 2024, his percentages are a little bit lower this year. I'm used to seeing him over 20%. He's 19% from the start of 23. That covers all tracks. And here at the current Aqueduct meet, he is at 18%, 11 for 62. In the money, 36 out of 62 times. I have to admit, Manny Franco is the jockey. He's 19% here. And the jockeys that usually ride Canate are down at Gulfstream Park right now, so Franco takes the call. How are the workouts? 50 seconds. No record at Aqueduct. 50 seconds in 4 furlongs. 50 and 3 at 4 furlongs. Last race, November 9th, rated to 5th. The only thing I could say about this one is it does have the early speed, but it has shown a tendency to fade and opens at 6-1. I'm not overly impressed. The workouts, the speed, I know it's Pletcher. Can he steal it on the front end? That's the question. We move down to number 3, Sweet Sadi J. Now, this one is trained by Raymond Ginter Jr. 0-2 at Aqueduct, a 16% trainer. Has raced at Aqueduct once and drew its worst career race. And now that was in the Champagne Stakes on October 7th, a G1 event. Was up semi-close in the first call and wound up just folding completely. He came out quick and wound up at the second call, he was back 15 lengths and wound up coming in at a mile on a sloppy track, 8th place, 37 lengths back. And that's its only race at this distance. And this one opens 8-1. This one does have some early speed. Has a couple of nice Brisnets snuck in there. Dylan Davis up for Ginter Jr. I don't like its race at Aqueduct, so I'm not big on this one. Nothing really outstanding in the workouts. Did run in the G1 and just folded. And it did have a victory in its last race at 7, going away, and it did show big improvement in its closing ability at Laurel. Do we take that at face value? Excuse me. Do we take that at face value and think maybe he's a chance to slip into third? No, we'll look forward and see. There are only two more to cover here. And number 4 opens at the second choice, almost double the opening odds of the number 1, who opened at even money, is El Grande O. Linda Rice trained. Big shot here. Very prominent trainer. Winning the Aqueduct and Belmont titles. Not the Aqueduct, the Saratoga. I think she finished in a tie for first at Saratoga the last summer and won the Belmont trainer title. El Grande, 3 races at Aqueduct, has won 2 of them. And this one shows an outstanding closing kick as well as an outstanding late kick. And this is another one getting Carmoch has ridden this one, but the usual jock who has ridden it all its other times is Jose Ortiz. He's in Florida. And it did run in the Champagne Stakes and came in 6th. That was a G1 event. Went off, though, at 20, almost 21-1 in that race, but did run an 82 Brisnet. And I just want to check something about the Champagne Stakes. Oh, yeah, Champagne Stakes. That was at Aqueduct October 7th. And that's the race that the 3 finished 37 lengths back. But this one has on the board 7 out of 8 times, 3 wins, 3 seconds, and a third, with a high watermark of 99 on the speed scale, on the Brisnet scale. And 2 for 3 at Aqueduct, and 1 for 2 at the distance with a 94. Where he won the last race at this distance on a muddy track. Now, this one did run its 99 on a muddy track as well. Last 3 races on a muddy track. But go back to Saratoga at 6 furlongs. Did run at a 97, nearly wiring the field. I see this one as a big win contender, as by its early pace. I know, drum roll, please, does have, by the buyer figures, has 2 of its last 3 are faster than El Grande O. But I like the fact that El Grande O has a little bit more speed, has run on the track, has a couple victories under its belt. And you have Rice here, who goes to Carmouche, who has ridden it once before. Opens at 9-5. As far as its workouts go, 5 furlongs, December 31st. 5 furlongs, 102. Not working especially fast now either. Now, this has a bit of a layoff. Its last race was October 29th. So they give it, and it did win a 200K Sleepy Hollow by a mile and at this distance by 1 1/4, wiring the field. It dueled and it held on. So, it didn't burn out. At the first call was only up by a head. And then I guess got some separation by the second call, up 2.5, into the stretch up 5.5. And then it looks like it wound down and wound up winning by a length and a quarter. And to give you how strong this one is, when this one goes off as a favorite, it wins. Every time it's went off as a favorite, it's won. And it won that race at 0.65-1 and won the other race at 0.7-1. And it won, it even won on turf as a favorite. But Jose Ortiz rides it all the time. The only one who's ridden it besides Jose Ortiz is Kendrick Carmouche in the G1 Champagne. And it looks like it was just overmatched. And it was on a wet track because it went off at 20.9 to 1. And this isn't a G1 event. But it's already won multiple stakes winner here. And this one, by the early pace, in the last race, it didn't show quite as much early pace and came on with a tremendous closing kick. And it's done that a couple of times. We'll go back to its Saratoga race where it ran a 97. Just missed that race despite stumbling at the break on August 27th, where he was up front all the way and then lost by a head despite a bad start. And when they stumble at the start like that, you know how difficult that is. It's tough. Rarely do you see them recover from the stumble. And not only did it recover from the stumble, at the first call was up by a head and nearly hung on. And just in the closing stages, lost by a head. I'm looking to the earlier workouts, and they never really pushed this horse. Linda never really pushed this horse, never had eye-popping workouts. So that bodes positively for 4. And at this point, I give 4 a slight edge over the 1, having 2 wins on the track, having its local trainer here, who's 18% here, and Linda going back to the start of 2023, she's 23%. In non-graded stakes, she's 17%. I want to go back to Brad Cox for a second. How is he in non-graded stakes? He's 24%. Well, after all, it is Brad Cox. But he's 16% here. He doesn't know the nuances of the track like Linda does. He's 16% here in 25 tries. But it's not just the trainers. I think this one has an edge by the consistent high numbers. Now we'll go to 5, the third choice, Regalo. Early speed type, but he doesn't go to the lead, but he trained by Brittany Russell. Now, this is a sneaky trainer here at Aqueduct. Brittany Russell is 27% from the start, January 1st, 2023 to the present. 26%, that covers 687 races. So she knows how to win. And Sheldon Russell, Regalo, only knows Sheldon Russell. Sheldon Russell has rode this one all 3 times. Has a second at 6 furlongs at Pimlico, then ran its last 2 at Laurel, where it finished first at 7 furlongs, going away 5 1/4. And its last race at 1 1/16 at Oaklawn, it's in second by a head through the first 2 calls, took the lead entering the stretch at 1.5 lengths and 1 going away by 4.5. So this one is 2 for 3 in victories with a second place finish. No races at Aqueduct. Brittany Russell, she seems to spot him here. Only 5 races to show at this meet for Aqueduct. Has a win, a second, and 2/3. 20% winning percentage on the board, 4 out of 5. First, second, 40%. Here's the thing. They make this the second choice, the third choice. By the numbers, others have run faster. But this one does seem to know where the finish line is. And as making its first start as a 3-year-old, it's been on the improve. Winner open lengths the last 2 races. And it's interesting. This looks like a push-button horse, too, because the race 2 back, it showed excellent early speed with a nice closing ability at 7. And last race, it showed less early speed in an optional claimer at 1 1/16, but then came on like a train at the end and wound up running away by 4.5 lengths. But the 86 Brisnet seems a little low. And Brittany Russell, when she ships in, wins 26%. The workouts, 102 and 4 on December 30th, 8th of 11 for 5 furlongs. December 23rd, 24th of 66, 49 and 2. On a sloppy track, December 3rd, 14th of 15, 51. Now, it was working slowly in November, early November, November 12th, 4th of 39, 48 and 4. So this one is not really the star of the workout track. After the December 3rd on a sloppy track, the next workout was December 23rd. I worked the 49 and 2. And then the December 30th, worked 102 and 4 at Laurel. So what does all this mean? Now, it's went off, it takes money all the time. Won the last two at 2-1, two back at 1.3-1 favorite, and won the race before that 2.1-1, finished second. So even the first time out, it was taking money. So you got the trainer, Brittany Russell, 26% trainer overall. What does this mean? The one I like now, I'm going to give you my win contenders, and I'm going to give you my play for this race. Given the fact that 4 seems to can either close late or go really quick early, I give the edge here to number 4, El Grande. El Grande, Linda Rice with Carmouche. It is the biggest money winner of all of these, having amassed already during its 2-year-old campaign, amassed $319K in winnings. And he does have the highest Brisnet Prime Power ranking. You see that here under the date. And he deserves it. And Linda, I know it's been off a few months, but Linda gets him ready to go. You see 46 to 90 days away. Plus, she does win 20%. Carmouche is 16% here. Seems to be in order working towards this since December 10th. Since she exited the Sleepy Hollow victory, began training again December 10th. Just over a month and 10 days or so, 11, 12 days after they let it go, after it did a nearly a wire job, first call all the way at here on this track, on the wet track. This one runs really fast on a wet track or a dry track. Fastest on a dry track, 97. Fastest on a wet track, 99. We'll go to the favorite. Fastest on a dry track, 96. Fastest on a wet track, 93. Almost a virtual coin flip between these two. Now, this one is out of a hard spun. And you got the Cox factor. And on 4, you do have AP Indy on the sorry side, Unbridled Song on the damn side. I say it's a virtual tie between these two. I give the slight edge to 4. So what I'd set up here is a trifecta play with 2-4 in the first position. And you could play the trifecta for as little as 50 cents at Aqueduct. So what about the second position? I'm going to add a third horse to the second position. 2-4, obviously going to stay in this second position. Although I like 4 best, if I had to single one on top, I would lead with 4, El Grande O. I believe this one's going to be favored come post time. So we got 3 others to choose from to put in the third position. And I'm going to put in the second position, and I'm going to put 4 in the third position. So what about the second position? Do we go Pletcher? Now, the number 2 has been improving every single race, showed unusual early speed, still has a high of 87 as a bridge net, but its early pace figures were good, and it's turning back. So this one might get a jump. And it's a 44K earner. Never raced here, though. The workouts of this one, 50 seconds flat on the 30th for 4. On the 20th, 27 and 51. Not really any outstanding workouts, but I don't think this one has ever really been pushed in the workouts as evidenced by the times. I'm not even seeing a sub 50-second workout here. for 4 for its entire history. One November 2nd, 49-3 at Churchill Downs. Okay, so this is no star of the workout field, but what I did like was its improved early. It's improving in the early speed department, which is important. I think this one has enough early speed to be a part of it, maybe even out front early in this race. And you got the Todd Pletcher factor. Manny Franco has never ridden this one before. And the big guys are out of town, as evidenced by, and it's getting faster every race, cuts back, already showed quickness last race. The rider, Saez, rode it the last time, finished 6th, 5 back, went off at 10-1. Jose Ortiz rode it the previous 2 times. He won by 10 lengths at Keeneland on October 11th, despite going off at 6.75-1 with Jose Ortiz. Jose Ortiz, the race before that was on turf. We'll give him a mulligan there. Did run fast early. And its first race, it only ran a 62, despite opening at Saratoga at 2.75-1. He got bumped between at the break, and then he had to check with Flavian Pratt up. So this one it's never won at a stakes level. But still, I think this one has to be considered as the underneath choice because you're getting a bit of a price. He's not the third choice, open 6-1. Franco familiar with the track. Pletcher 22% in non-graded stakes, 18% at the meet. This is number 2. Okay, I want to make a correction there. I mean 1 and 4 in the first position of the trifecta. Okay, so 1 and 4 in the first position. Drum roll, please. And El Grande O, number 4. So 1 and 4, and I'm going to circle the 4 because I give that one a slight edge. And I will add, I just want to go down to so we got 2, 3, Sweet Sadi J. Has earned 157K. Did wire the field last race at Laurel. Did have that really bad race at Aqueduct. Raymond Gintner, 0 for 2 at Aqueduct. Shipping in, he's 12%. Dylan Davis up. I think Dylan is up against it here. At the distance, 0 for 1. I think this one likes it a little shorter. Did its damage at 7. This is going to be a mile at a track he never ran on. Does have some, last workout was okay. 49 seconds, 14 out of 72. So I give the 2 the edge over the 3, and we'll slip down to 5. Regalo. Numbers are a little light. No races at Aqueduct, the trainer. The thing is, it's come back. I don't want to go 4 deep in this. I don't believe 5 who is the third choice, is quick enough to get it done. And I like the fact that Pletcher's on the 2 at higher odds and has better early speed than that one. And this is a mile, so we're not talking a mile 16th, a mile and a quarter. So I like 1, 2, 4 for the second position. Now for the third, if 1 or 4, if either of these don't bring their A game, they might not get into the second position. So having the 2 in the second position, maybe it opens the door up a little bit. Now in the third position, I will take the 4 out of the third position because I believe it's going to finish 1-2. But I will include number 1 in the third position. Got to take a stand somewhere. I mean, you could always include the 1-4 in the third position as well if you feel comfortable with it. And of course, the 2 I'm going to add in the third position. Who I will add now it's between the 3 coming off a wire job, likes it. Now, if I add the 3 and the 5 to the third position, we're going to give you a price here. So I got 4 in the first 2 positions, and we'll put the other 4 in the fourth position. And let's take a look at what this adds up to here. Okay, today's racing. And I'll give you what it would cost for 50 cents to play this, or for $1. I'll get, and it's also available for 50 cents. Excuse me. Okay, for $1, this play 1-4 over 1-2-4 over 1-2-3-5 would cost 11. For 50 cents, it would cost $5.50. I believe it has since I think the 4 is the one that to beat here. If I had to single one on top, I would use number 4 in that first position. I'll use them both. I'll use one in all 3 positions, because also this has a pattern of running bad race, good race, bad race, good race, or worse, lesser race. Today it's due for one of the lesser races. And you got Castellano up and Brad Cox, 101K earner, but this one sets up pace-wise and numbers-wise and even earnings-wise over 300K, 319K earned. 2 of 3 at Aqueduct. The numbers 97, 99 high on, and we might get some moisture here today. And this one has its highest speed rating on a wet track, 99. Whereas number 1 has a high speed rating of 93 on a wet track. And number 3 was horrible on a wet track, 56. Number 5 never ran on a wet track. So I'll put my play here for this race. And let me bring it up here. And I'll post it for you so you can take it down. Jerome trifecta. This way, print it out. Got it covered here, folks. I have 1-4 in the top position, 1-2-4 in the second position, and 1-2-3-5 in the third position. Okay. So that's it. Coverage of the Jerome Stakes today. Some history about the Jerome, and a further deeper analysis of all 5 contenders and win contenders, and a trifecta play for the Jerome Stakes. I will be covering the Jerome Stakes on today's live show, so you may want to join us. Today I'll be covering Gulfstream Park. They have 11 races today, 3 stakes races on today's Gulfstream Park, live Gulfstream Park horse racing picks. So look for that show, because before the Jerome Stakes at Gulfstream Park, their race before the Jerome Stakes ends at 109. So we're going to shift our attention to the Jerome Stakes and take a closer look again, an even closer look, because we'll have 10 minutes to post. We'll know if there are any scratches. We'll see how the board stacks up, and I'll give you our final trifecta play during the Gulfstream Park show coverage. So we're going to shift over to the Jerome there. So good luck today. Good luck in the Jerome Stakes and whatever other tracks you are playing. Thanks for watching, and may the horse always be with you.